Hello there, everybody, and welcome to this stream that I never thought I would do for 2025. Technically being the first one, but I absolutely am in disbelief with what I just found out. I couldn't believe it. Apparently, we didn't know that this had happened a couple of weeks back during last year, right near the very end. But I was told, just as everybody else is right now, that the Thomas community has lost a legend. Tragically, Britt Allcroft, who brought Thomas and Friends from the Railway series into the television series in 1984 on our TV screens, has passed on. At the age of 81. And everybody in the fandom, as I speak, they cannot believe this. We've only just found out. And right now, a lot of us are just reeling under the blow. And everybody is just shocked, stunned silence. Everyone thought it was a hoax. Everybody thought this wasn't real. But I read the confirmation. And as soon as it happened, it just felt like not just me, but everybody else have just said that their childhood has come crashing down. Some of it have said it's ended. And for some, including myself, feel like this is an end of an era for a lot of us Thomas fans. For those who have just started to learn about it, like those who have just started watching the original, and if they've just come to find out that the original creator has died, I feel like they won't stay anytime sooner. And for us who have been there from the beginning, I feel like this is it. And I'm absolutely, as you can tell in the tone of my voice, I'm still choked with shock. Britt Allcroft did so much in making Thomas special. If she weren't for her, we would never have had the infamous TV series that we had. That dates all the way back from season 1 to where it could have ended. And like I said, I just can't believe this is just happening. We've only just started out in the new year, and this is the first biggest tragic loss to deal with. I don't think nobody in the Thomas community could have foresaw that. And my mind and thoughts, just like everybody else today, including you guys who are watching in the chat, and for those of you watching live now, we're all thinking of Britt Allcroft's friends, family, and a lot of us all together. Because right now, I just feel like the entire community at this point is just on its hands and knees, shattered and broken. I just feel like there's nothing, to go with anymore with it. And to be quite honest, without the original director of Britt Allcroft, personally, I feel like it should be done with. Look, I'm not trying to say this if I was in anyone else's shoes, but I feel like the Thomas franchise on TV, I think for all the right reasons, and maybe if Britt Allcroft had it her way, I feel like it should be retired. It's just going to be too painful to watch now. I won't be able to watch the TV series the same way ever again. I feel like everybody in the Trains community should either stop doing these series now, or maybe, or maybe they can continue on their own ways, or maybe do something dedicated to her. But right now, I just feel like it's over. I feel that the TV series is done with. Because obviously, what else can we do now? I'm honestly at a loss. I just don't know how. I mean, when we lost Wilbert Audrey in 1997, I think it was, or 98, or somewhere in that time period. I was only a young kid at the time, and I didn't know Audrey had passed on until about roughly, somewhere about roughly 2003 or 4 or wherever it was, and I didn't know that. And I thought the Railway series was over with when he passed. When his son Christopher took over, it continued. But now I feel like that the whole franchise of Thomas is going to end up dying out now at this point, because with both the original director from the Railway series and now the original director of the television series now gone, I feel like it's over. Like, the original era of Thomas is over now. No disrespect to Mattel, despite I do feel their lack of holding it. Despite they broke the truth of what happened, I feel like they'll completely continue on to ignore the fandom, the real fans of Thomas like myself and everybody else here, and they'll just continue to slap and disrespect the franchise. I feel like it's done with now. It's just going to be too painful, and honestly, I don't think I'll be able to watch Thomas for a good long month. Maybe for the entire year, or maybe for the rest of my life, I might not be able to. And like I said, I feel like it's over with now. What can I say? I'm still gutted, man. Like, look, you can't see it right now, but I'm still burning with tears of sadness, and I just can't believe this. I can only imagine right now what's going through the minds of everybody else. I mean, hell, I can only dare imagine anybody in the fandom who have met Britt Allcroft. Just think of that. Anyone who I'm a friend of, anybody who I'm a fan of as well, who may have met her, that makes me wonder how bad that is, because that's something else. But at this point in time, I'm literally gutted, man. I really cannot believe this. After so long, and I didn't think Britt was that old. You know, at the age of 81, she didn't even look her age either. And you know, at least, I'm not sure at least what to say. I'm still lost. I do apologize for being the same words, ladies and gentlemen, but I literally am just heartbroken. You know, not only did she make Thomas and Friends and that, but she also made Shine Time as well, that introduced Thomas to the Americans on the TV scenes, which was a couple of years after we had it in the United Kingdom. You know, despite what people think of her, you know, when she directed Thomas and the Magic Railroad and how it was a flop at the box office, and I was there when that film debuted in 2000. I was one of the first to see the movie, and I don't care what people think. I don't care what critics might think now. But I feel like, to be honest, looking back on it, Thomas and the Magic Railroad was one of the best, and it still ranks as one of the best for what it is. You know, and after some of the improvements that we've seen regarding the 20th anniversary, which was back in 2020 at the time, and everything else, I still love the film. But I just feel like the magic of Thomas has been long gone since, and this is only further symbolizing an end of an era for a lot of us, myself included, and for everybody else who have been there from the very beginning. You know, I mean, there are fans older than we are who might be reeling this under the blow more than we are. And yet, the future is just so dark at the moment for Thomas and Friends. I don't think there is a future. If you want to be honest with me, I don't think there is now. I'm not saying the future should still be bright and strong, but I'm not sure what to do anymore. I don't think they should continue. If Britt had it her way, I feel like it should be over with. Like, the TV series that we knew had ended even before that damn bloody reboot happened. That's how I'd like it to be. But it's, you know, like I said, it's just too painful, man. I mean, us as a fandom can still go, but if you think about it from another perspective, from the actual fandom that existed, in terms of like when it was Audrey's time and Allcroft's time, even before we all became a fandom, whenever it became a fandom, when we started forming our own, you know, as we got older, I feel like the actual fandom of Thomas has long since passed, and we're kind of like a preservation type of, you know, we're kind of like a preserved fandom because we know the fandom of Thomas that we've known has become very toxic in the last couple of years. It's only been the last 2.5 or so years, or from my point of view, that we've seen a major return, and it's been a good bringing. The fans are coming back better despite problems we've had. But with this, I feel like that the franchise is just done. Same here, times. I've been a Thomas fan since 1992 for like 33. I'll be 34 next month, so it would mean I've been a fan for 33 years. I know, Guster, you're thinking that reboot should never have kept going. It should never have done, and it was only just respecting the original. And I feel like, I don't know why, but I feel like the rebooting now of the whole season should end. There's nothing to go by now. I feel like it's just worthless. I'm not so sure where to go next, lads. Like I said, I'm still lost and gutted and broken. Sometimes I do feel like when we pray for a better year than the last, I didn't expect this to happen so quickly. We're only 3 days into the new year here in the UK, and this had to happen. It just feels like now, every time we pray for something better and happy to happen, something that we don't expect happens right from underneath us, and we lose somebody that we are important to. And of course, this was something we didn't even see coming. And I don't know how we can turn something negative into something positive in the Thomas fandom with this now, other than just remembering Britt Allcroft for what she's done. She not only brought Thomas to the big screen, but she also did a series that me and my dad remembered, which was Mumphy, the TV show, which was about a special little elephant who was kind of like a teeny version of my favorite Disney character of Dumbo, almost. And that was another thing that she was best known for doing as well. And of course, that was another thing. I had no idea she did more than one show, but she's done other stuff as well. But I just feel like it just feels strange, like this feeling of as if we knew who Britt was. It's like we'd lost a family member. And it feels like that's what the fandom has been, only to lose another. I just feel like what will be left, because clearly, obviously, I feel like the era's just been slowly dying out, ever so slowly. And no matter how far we try in our own fandom of Thomas to remember the good times and trying to preserve the work that Reverend W. Audrey did, and now we've got to do the same for Britt Allcroft, but I just feel like the whole fandom is just going to have to change again. It's going to have to change again for the best. But something tells me a lot of us may not be the same. Something tells me that a lot of us might end up ending this and never come back to it. It's not like we should, but a part of me feels like it's over. Like, what else can happen now? Because Thomas can never be the same, will never be looked upon the same. And the series that we knew, we can barely watch because obviously it would be too painful. It's just going to be so tough. To be honest, I don't think I'll be able to watch anything Thomas related or so for the rest of this year. I don't think. This is something I didn't have on my New Year's resolution. I'm not sure what's going to happen next. I mean, a lot of us are just grieving and weeping. Even though I can't see you guys right now, I literally can feel it. I feel the pain and sadness and teariness from everybody. Especially here in the UK, because that's where it all started. Because right now, I feel like it's done. Like I said before, I keep saying it. I feel like the era of Thomas as we knew on TV is done. I'm not trying to foresee it now, but I mean, there's been a couple of heritage railways who've already done Britt Allcroft tribute train rides in her memory. But I feel like there's going to be more to come soon. And I even dare say they could do something maybe for Flying Scotsman to try and do a Britt Allcroft remembrance to her as well, since in the series we did see Scotsman and Gordon mix up a few times. And to be quite frankly, I don't know what else is going to happen. I mean, heck, I'm not even aware. You know, I'm not even aware, or maybe not. I'm not even aware if my little cousin Geordie has found out yet, because he loved Thomas. He watched the original with me a few years back, including Francesco as well. And I'm not sure if my cousin Kelly's told them. And I mean, yeah, Thomas can live on the internet as a childhood thing, as a toy train, global memes and icons and everything. That's one thing. But this being on the TV as it is, it's different, man. Just ignore the notifications you can hear in the background, because obviously notifications are going all over the place. It's just really bad. Like, I mean, everybody's just. I'm telling you, like now, I literally keep on slurring my words here. I'm just literally just shocked. And everybody else in the Thomas Trains fandom, like right now as we speak, have all been planning to do tributes in memory to Britt Allcroft. I can only imagine NWI 1991 and Shonda Productions and Thomas 123, or even even some of the icons of the Thomas Trains fandom could do their own, like Victor Tanzik and including some of the others, just to name a few out there. I feel like they're all going to do their own tributes to her, and as much as I would like to, it's just too painful for me to do one. But I mean, looking back on it now, I mean, we're so bloody damn lucky for a lot of things that we've had in the 90s, in the late 80s, 90s, and 2000s. This generation of today, they'll never understand, nor can they, to know how lucky we've been for so long. Like for 3 decades, close to 40, dare say 50 years on, or, back or whatever. Just looking back at it all, it just feels like a different world from a different time that we were from. It's gone. It's like a part of us went just with it. And if it wasn't for the Thomas Railway series, and if it wasn't for the television series as well at the same time that I watched and read, I would never have been a Thomas fan for the last 33 years of my life, even though I am 33. But, I mean, I'll be 34 next month, so technically that'll be 33 years of me being a Thomas fan. Ever since I was 1 year old in 1992, my first birthday cake was a Thomas cake that I had for my first birthday. And I started reading and watching and Thomas at that age, and I fell in love with trains in the real world here in Britain before learning about the Americans and Australians and whatnot and everything else, that there was a bigger world out there. It was all because of Thomas's TV series and everything else I read in the Railway series that Audrey had wrote. I just, you know, hell, even the American 8F, who I know, who has used some of my music back in the day, who I've just started to see himself, he's absolutely shattered. Yeah, just a little shout out to the American 8F as well, man. Thanks for using some of my old music back in the day. I appreciate it. Hopefully you do well with your series, which I really think is quite intriguing. But right now, at this point, a lot of us just have to take this in. Again, I literally have nothing else to go on with, because honestly, I'm just shattered. Everybody else is heartbroken. Like I said, this truly does feel like an end of an era for a lot of us who grew up watching the Thomas series. The younger generation won't understand. They've only started to know, and then all of a sudden, bang, it's gone. Us in the fandom, despite, the toxic fandom with Thomas, which killed a lot of us out of the original, we'll have to preserve what's left. And of course, I think the unlucky Tug himself will be heartbroken as well when he finds out. And what's his name? He did that Thomas fandom documentary for a lot of us. I think he too will be absolutely shattered to find out. I didn't think 2025 would start this way, but I was happy at embracing the year despite all the shenanigans and crap that we've had. But this is a day in the Thomas fandom that has changed us all again, and not for the best. And for us to deal with this tragedy, I'm not sure how we're going to cope. But I have to say though, looking back, we were goddamn lucky to have a childhood that nobody else in today's time or even in the future will never have and could never have. And yet, I feel like I said before, it's just tragic, man. It all depends how we're going to deal with this. Well, I hope that Britt Allcroft, wherever she is right now, her spirit may be wandering at this point, or somewhere up in heaven with the good Lord, or maybe somewhere in an afterlife. She's left us with a legacy that we can be proud of. And a part of us went with her. Even myself included. I don't think none of us would give a damn about Jimmy Carter, Robert. We don't want to bring former presidents into this tragedy. Because clearly I didn't care about that. I'm just too shocked about what's happened now. And just keep in mind, Tommy Trains, in 2020, as I told you, during one of the darkest days, I think, for a lot of us, probably the darkest day that we had, the fandom turned on itself. So intoxicated and everything else. You know, there was a lot who had betrayed the fandom. Some turned good and evil and they never came back. Some did come back better, like myself. I was among the many who struggled and I found my way back in because I obviously didn't give up. But I feel like with this, I'm not sure how we're going to cope with this. As far as I'm concerned, it's a day that has just changed me and everybody else. Not for the best either. But it's changed us again for forever in a bad time. But looking back on it all now, Britt Allcroft left us with a legacy that this modern generation can never understand. And it was something that we were damn lucky to have. And wherever Britt Allcroft's spirit is right now, I hope she's looking down with pride. And so, I wrap this stream up, because I'm on the verge of just breaking down at this point. And so, with that being said, Britt Allcroft, thank you for bringing Thomas, the Tank and Jen and Friends to our television screens back from 1984 to where we are now. Thank you for the memories you've given us and a childhood that we can look back with pride on. We will never forget you, Britt Allcroft. Your name and legacy will live on forever. Thank you, Britt. Thank you.